Story
There
I
you
can
go.
tell you. Hey, look, we're live. As promised, ladies and gentlemen, it is Scott Bailey and uh, Doug the I don't know what a Day of the Dead guy with my picture. I got the I got a face mask I was wearing for like Halloween, and then we decided, hey, we're not going out for Halloween, and went out for Day of the Dead instead. And I had just kind of a little bits to the top part of my face painted, and went to one of the bars locally, and there was a woman there who was painting faces, just zapping stuff. So just ended up, I had white paint in my beard. I mean, it was everywhere, but I
Look what I
looked
got
good.
here. It's
What you got?
night time. Facebook world. There's
Oh,
one. Say hi,
it's
Mr. Doug.
night time.
It is night time.
What's
Oh,
up, chica?
come up here so you can see. Say hi, Facebook world,
And there's chica number two.
with her blue V
Niñas
neck going
everywhere.
on.
Uh,
Can you say hi to everybody? No, you're not gonna say hi to everybody. Can you say hi to
no,
everybody? You gonna be shy?
what is this? You don't be shy.
All
Don't
right,
be shy.
tell Facebook all the martial art people night. Can you say night? Night. All right, I love you. Night. Daddy's gonna talk to these guys real quick, okay? All right. If these two faces don't get us views, I don't know what will, Doug Rankin.
You know what? You're not wrong, because these two faces won't give it good views.
That's right. That's marketing 101 right there.
When I worked for Penny's, I had the lingerie department for actually several years, and I always wanted to find like the hottest girl in Athens, Georgia, and bring her in just for Christmas Eve shopping, so
Yeah.
that every guy who comes in at the last minute would buy the most, because she'd go, "Oh, this is exactly what your wife needs." And she would take her to the most expensive things that was there, and just we're men, we're stupid, we don't know. So he'd spend $100 on a bra, and it'd be like, "Hey, this is great. She's gonna love this." And of course, when she opens the present, it's like, uh, "Thank you, honey. This is $100 bra.
That's
How much I
awesome.
love you." But I never did it. I always wanted to. Never did. You can't afford to buy $100 bra today in the United States, can you?
They probably don't make them anymore for $100.
Well, if they did, I mean, if you work for the government right now, you're screwed, right?
That's what they keep saying.
Yeah.
Not just the government too. Anything the government funds really right now.
Apple juice. Yeah, it's I say they've been talking about a correction in the economy for like the last 5 years,
Pretty much since
because it
COVID.
seems, yeah, and a lot of people thought COVID was the correction, but I don't think so. Uh, we had a we had a blip on our radar screen, but the government bailed everybody out, so it didn't really hurt. But this time, depending on how long this shutdown drags on, this could be painful for a lot of people.
Oh yeah. Well, I know we have Oak Ridge National Labs here in Knoxville. I know a lot of my parents, they're scientists, they're physicists, they run the nuclear reactors, they do it all over there. And they were saying that they're getting told that they may get furloughed. They have operating up until I think November 11th, which is only what, 6 more days,
Yeah,
and then they have to start picking and choosing who gets paid to run the reactor and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be interesting if they don't get it done, which they're saying it may be December before they come together. So, which, I think this is an important thing that the martial art community teaches the world, right? Is, you may disagree, you may not like it, but at some point you got to come together and do what's best for your community, right? And that's
absolutely.
what we do best as business owners, in my opinion.
We do a good job at that. Community is a big deal to, I think, most martial artists. There's 45,000 schools that are floating around out there, and there's that's a lot of people who really are interested in building their communities and making them a safer place, and making them a better place, and all that kind of stuff. Like I said, you run across something like this though, and it's like, you know, do do people see the value that a martial arts program or a good after school program or a good summer camp or a good whatever program, fill in the blank, do they see the value in what that does to their child or for their child and their family? And sometimes I think it's questionable because it seems like it's easy when the kid says, hey, I want to go play baseball, and that's great. What I don't know the percentage anymore off the top of my head, but the percentage of people that make it to Major League Baseball is, it's small, tiny, infinitesimal, and not that baseball is bad. I played for a long time. I played until I was about 40, as a matter of fact, in baseball leagues. But it just doesn't bring the same thing to the plate. Get that? Get that? You got the pun there? That martial arts does.
Home plate.
Yeah. So that's one of the things I think we have to do is we really have to figure out how to explain what we do in a martial arts program to the parents so that they really just get it. And um, one of the ways I like to think of it is you know uh, it's like college. It's like sending your kid to Harvard. You're not gonna not send your kid to Harvard if they get an opportunity to go, and you only have to pay $1,000 a year or $2,000 a year for them to go.
Right.
Uh, and that's the kind of stuff I think you get out of martial arts that we just don't do a good job of explaining sometimes.
Something I've been doing in my school, maybe the past 2 weeks, is I've noticed a lot of parents, used to be teaching a class and you tell this kid and you spotlight or highlight them, right? And the whole class gives them two claps, that kind of thing. And one of the things I've noticed over the past, really past couple of years is parents can't get out of these, right? So they're,
Yeah.
they're sitting in your lobby and they're nose down, and you pull the kid up and say, "Hey, that was awesome jump spin sidekick," or "Hey, that was a great technique on your board break." And used to parents, a couple years ago, 3, 4, 5 years ago, would look up and they'd smile and put their phone away for a few minutes. Now it's like they don't even exist. So what I've been doing is I've been going out and sitting beside parents in our lobby. Once we break out into our junior instructors and assistant instructors and stuff, I'll go out and sit beside the lobby and say, "Hey, did you check out that jump spin sidekick, or did you check out that board break he did?" And most of the time they're like, "No,
Yeah.
I missed it." I was like, "Man, it's awesome. You should film it next time." And that's been pretty powerful to get parents to engage. I think we live in a society of disengagement at this point. So
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's not. I've called a phone an electronic leash for years, and I mean, literally, we use it for everything nowadays. And there's really, I mean, how many hours do you think the average person has their phone in their hand? And then on top of that, how many hours is somebody's phone within arm's reach during the
oh
course of
yeah.
the day and the night? You know?
I was gonna say I get I don't know, it's like 6 to 8 thousand notifications a day from all the business stuff, and then, for me, even me working, and I taught classes tonight, but I'll still have 8 to 10 hours of phone usage. That doesn't include my computer usage or anything else. That's just my phone.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, look, Scott and I are here tonight, not just to sit here and ramble on about nothing, but if you guys have questions about martial arts, after school, summer camp, gymnastics, cheer, how the weather's going. We're really good weathermen, by the way. We can talk about the World Series. So we got this covered. Just feel free to hop in and ask a question about something that we're doing, and we'll see if we can't give you a good answer. And it can be about marketing. It can be about how to get customers. It can be how to keep customers. Uh, doesn't matter. And to be
Tax
perfectly honest,
strategies.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We may not actually have an answer, or at least a good one. So we also know when to say, I don't know. We'll find it out. I think that's again one of the cool things about a martial artist is when I was young, well, always been old as martial artists, but when I was a young martial artist, you get up there and you had to answer questions that tested them. If you didn't know the answer, it's like, I don't know, sir or ma'am, but I'll find out. And then you went racing afterwards to go and see what the answer was in your book. And then you went running back to that instructor and you stood there quietly and patiently until they finished talking to whoever they were talking to. And, it's, hey, ma'am, I know the answer to the question that you asked me to test. Hey, what was it? It was this. And there was really a point to this story, but now that I've gone and talked
Well,
myself into a
you know
circle.
what? You mentioned that, and this is the beautiful part about sharing. I haven't done that in forever. We used to have we have a knowledge cycle as one of our core tenets, and so during the knowledge cycle we would give out your basic Korean terminology and you know odd end things and what part of the foot hits on a sidekick, and we would ask the kids, give them a study guide and then ask the kids the questions and then their belt test. And we haven't done that probably since COVID, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So I need to bring that back.
Hey, a friend of mine who ran a martial arts school in Atlanta for a while, anytime we'd stop doing something, I'd go, hey, why did we stop doing that? His answer was always, well, because it worked. And damned if he isn't right. We stopped doing a lot of things because they work. And we need to stop doing that and make sure that we do things because they work. All right.
Oops,
Well, let's
here.
see.
Oh, I think
What's
you're frozen. There you are.
on my back? Yeah. I just got so for whatever reason I have two internets here. So I've got Starlink, which is not great, by the way, here in Mexico. It's not bad, but it's not great. And then I had the local one, and it's a fiber. But on Friday, a red light comes on the router, and it's like, hey, what's going on? So end up calling about it. And long story short, somebody had to come out and take a look and fix a wire somewhere. So I finally got it back today. So it was nice. I did a speed test, and it was like 100 and 180 down and 350 up. I was going, seems a little backwards, but okay, this is so much better.
We'll take it. We'll take it.
It's going with this internet speed. You should be able to watch TVs and everything else. I hope so. I hope so. And it's a whole lot cheaper than it is in the United States too.
Seriously, we're at 1 gig here, so we got 1 gig fiber here,
Oh
and
wow.
I love it.
Well, we got to figure out how to help people get new clients to come into their businesses, particularly now. The government shutdown. Obviously this is not the first time this has happened, but we were talking before we went live that you're hearing that this could go on for another month or so easy. That there's a lot of people that are going to quit.
Oh yeah.
Not just martial arts programs, but anything that's an outside program, even if they're going to get paid retroactively, that doesn't help you today.
No.
And we need to figure out some ways that we can help people, bring some people in the door and throw some ideas against the wall for them. And I wish there would be somebody who'd come in that would ask a question that we might be able to answer,
I know for
or even
us,
one that we can't.
like we've been, it's been slowly pulling back, right? The interest rates have been slowly creeping up. The student loans kick back in. Everything that we've enjoyed for the past 5 years is it's slowly going away, right? And I think this government shutdown may just be the nail in the coffin. And I think it's going to go back to, you're going to have to fight for those students. You're going to have to fight to keep them. You're going to have to fight to win them. And I think that's going to be hard for a lot of us because we've gotten so complacent with our post-COVID boom, right? Everybody had money, everybody had time, everybody has freedom, and
Yeah.
now it's all pulling back. And so I think again we're gonna have to step up our game. So like for us, we've already went through and cut, all the erroneous stuff that we had purchased that we don't really use anymore, subscriptions and different things like that. And like I said, we're going back to our roots. Like we're bringing back our leadership class. to train the next generation of instructors for our program. We had a bunch, like Doug said, we got successful. So we had a bunch of, instructors, and now those instructors have started, 23, 24, 25, and they're moving on and doing different things and joining the military and going to college and all that kind of stuff, and so now we're scraping the barrel again because we were successful and we slowed down, um, so again, for us, we're going back to our roots here too.
Yeah. And I think you said again, the value thing. We just, as an industry, I don't think we do a good job of explaining it. We talk about uh, leadership, discipline, integrity, confidence, all those kinds of things. We teach martial arts, but when a parent is looking for something for their kid to do, like martial arts, they go in looking for something in particular. There's a reason that I'm looking for my kid to do this, other than for him to just have fun. Although for some parents that may be the only answer too. I just want my kid to have a good time, or I want my kid out of my hair for 45 minutes, or exhaust energy, whatever it might be. And number one, a lot of schools don't have a good follow-up program to begin with, and it's difficult. I mean, it takes literally hundreds, if not thousands, of hours to be able to, put that into a CRM and be able to make it work for you. Excuse me. So it's time consuming. It takes so much time to be able to do that, and we just don't all have that much time. But if we could pinpoint what that client was looking for, I think that would make a huge difference in all of our schools.
Oh yeah.
And it'd be like, and we know they're different. So what a parent looks for to bring their, or I guess I'm saying that the wrong way, like a 4 and 5-year-old, they have different things that
Needs.
would apply to them, yeah, than a 7, 8, and 9-year-old would. And we have to be able to address those again, to express to mom and dad what the value is that we're providing to them through a martial arts program. It's all about using martial arts, or we can fill in the program, as the vehicle or the tool to be able to show that parent that we can solve this problem for you as a team. We can't do it by ourselves, obviously, and they can't do it by themselves, which is why they need us. And we just have to do a better job of being able to tell people why, the why
Yeah.
behind what's important. And like I said, it's so time consuming to do. I mean, how many extra hours do you have every week in your pocket?
Any extra hours I have, I want to spend with those little girls. I mean, that's just all there is to it.
Yeah. And I mean, wouldn't you love to have even more time to spend with them?
I'd love to.
Yeah. So, and making your business run, without you is not, I mean, not necessarily, if that's not your goal, that's not what you need to do, but to be able to have the luxury of being able to do what you want when you want, right?
Right.
So
Just still
maybe I
not
want to
quite
teach.
mastered. You've told me that from the very beginning when I very first started my school, and I get so close, and then something implodes, and I gotta step back in and fix it.
uh, it's uh, I mean, it's a balancing act for sure, and it's not, even being out of the school, there's not a things still blow up, and you still have things that you have to get done, but you also have to count on having a reliable team to be able to fill in those gaps for you. And I think we all, heard if somebody can be 80% as good as you, then that's pretty damn good.
Right.
And when I was in the school, if I thought somebody was 80% as good as me, I mean, who was 80% as good as me? They were all like 30% as good as me in my head. But the reality is that now, most of the people that are uh, teaching at Apex are way better instructors than I ever was, because of all the things that we know today that we I didn't know or chose not to use 20 years ago. The teaching methods have changed, the vocabulary has changed.
The kids have
Um,
changed.
yeah, I mean, families have changed, so everything is different, and COVID had a lot to do with that. So both good and bad. I think, we took a lot of good stuff out of COVID and just didn't know it at the time.
Never doing Zoom on martial arts again.
Mm.
That was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, trying to teach martial arts through Zoom. Mm.
Yeah, that was a nightmare. I remember having a TV set up, and then you break people out into different rooms. So
Yep.
you've got all these things that are going on, and it's like, hey, hey Susie, stop kicking the soccer ball. We're doing martial arts right now. Or
My
don't lay
favorite,
down on the sofa.
my favorite is a lot of our students didn't have training, equipment, and so we would use pillows from their couch, and then all of a sudden I'm teaching in class. I have 20 kids on the screen, and I see in the top right hand corner the two brothers, and one of them's like beating the other one with the pillow, and I'm like, guys, focus, you know.
Yeah,
Oh, it's
that was
great.
a disaster. I hope that never happens again. That was a
It was
mess.
really hard, but there's some people in the industry that's saying that's the way of the future, and so I'm kind of, I
Yeah,
don't know.
I don't,
Um,
I don't think they're wrong. I think there's a place for it in the future. In the
I think
future,
once we get to holograms, we get to hologram level, I think it may be effective.
what's coming? I mean, you've got a robot coming.
Well, I don't know. It depends on when they actually release that thing.
Well, you're supposed to have a robot coming. Let's put it
Supposed to
that
have
way.
one, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, and who would have thought of that? 10 years ago, would you thought that?
I don't, not even 5 years ago, really.
Yeah. I mean, I was excited. I never owned one, by the way, but I was excited when the little vacuum cleaners that kind of roamed around by themselves when they came out. I thought this is pretty badass. A vacuum cleaner you can just turn on and it's going to do everything.
Hey, now they vacuum and they mop and they take the mop head off and dry it for you when it gets back to the terminal. Uh,
Good God.
they do it all now.
That is crazy stuff. But I mean, again, that's where
Oh,
technology is just, so vastly improved and stuff.
so we got Saul, I guess that's how you say it, Jamie.
Saul's one of my friends down here.
Yeah,
I
it
don't know
says
why he's hanging
ESL
out
teacher.
watching us.
Well, he gave us
Uh,
a thumbs up, so
yeah,
he
give us
must
a
be
thumbs up.
enjoying. Well, he says
He's,
Facebook says he's an ESL teacher.
um, I don't know. I think he probably works a couple of jobs. He works on a boat down here, and then yeah, if he's doing ESL too, his English is better than mine, by the way.
So I'd be curious if what he sees in the industry, the teaching industry. That's the other thing too, is like I see a lot of times that our industry stays so compact, right? That
Yeah,
we stay with each other. And the teaching industry is evolving. I was watching a guy on TikTok the other day, and he's actually using AI to create quizzes, and then for his students, and then he automatically grades his quizzes. AI grades the quizzes, and then puts the grade into the teacher workbook, or whatever you want to call it.
yeah.
The grade book. It's all automatically done now. That's the biggest thing with teachers, is they go home, and my wife did it and had to grade papers, and then you had to put the scores in. Now they can pretty much do it all in the click of a button.
I did everybody has form videos. I would assume, katas, forms, youngs, whatever you want to call them. And I ran one through AI not so long ago that one of the Apex instructors did because I was curious as to what AI would spit out as far as what improvements it saw that person could do in their form. And it gave me, it wasn't a long list of stuff, but it could have been. And I ran it in there, and then I had Danielle, the head instructor at Apex. I wanted her to go through, and I said, "Well, watch this video and let's do a compare and contrast on what you find versus what the AI finds." And she was definitely way more picky than the AI was. But I didn't prompt it to be, to give me 15 things that were wrong with the form. I only
Right.
prompted it, to give me 5, and they were similar. Each one, the ones that was on the AI list was on her list as well, and I'm sure it would have continued to be that way. And I thought, one of the cool things about that is that, there's so much what's the, what's the word? When you watch a form, it's what you like to see. We all try to, uh, stuff on the bottom of the screen, but I can't read it.
Yeah, that's your buddy. I think he's talking about the AI.
Oh, I'd love to
To
know how
where
to apply it to outsource to other countries to where I can have all the basic info and grade their level of English without having to do it myself. It's so time consuming. Yeah, yeah, I
yeah,
saw where you are. Absolutely right.
this guy I was watching for this particular one, he was using Google, and he had he had, I can't remember if it was ChatGPT or Gemini or what he used, but he had it write a script, and he had it create the quiz, and then he used that to grade and automatically translate it into his via API into his grade book.
Yeah,
There's a lot of smart teachers on there, and you know kind of going back to the martial art world, how can we use AI, like looking at a form, right? I guess it was a video you uploaded, Doug.
it was. And, one of the, I constantly have the ideas in my head. I just don't always follow through with them. Is that when you watch a form, it's so subjective, right? I mean, you and I could watch the same person,
Right.
and maybe, maybe I lean more towards making sure they have good power, and maybe you lean towards that somebody has nice crisp kicks, and those would be things that our attention is more drawn to. Well, AI doesn't give a shit. There's just it doesn't have any passion, so there's no restrictions for it on how it would judge and grade a form. And in my mind, I'm going, okay, this is, how can we make this work effectively for a testing for that particular part? You come over, somebody does the form, you upload it into an AI, it spits out a grade based on these parameters that you put in the knowledge base, and then they move on to their next section. And the same thing can be done for their sparring. I guess board breaking is either you break it or you don't.
Right.
Self-defense skill, it could all be done with assistance from AI. Certainly, you can't take away the people entirely, but it does take away the subjectivity out of it, so that there's no more. Well, I like the stances this wide, and somebody likes the stances this way, or in a back
Well,
stance it's like this.
it's kind of like baseball, and I don't know if it's AI, but technology. Baseball is coming out with basically it's umpire, right? And
Yeah, yeah,
it tracks, is it a ball or is it a strike? And again, you can kind of track your umpire statistics if they're calling it right or calling it wrong. I know they're in beta testing this year, but kind of the same concept. I think martial arts is a little bit more tedious than baseball. You know, the rules are, I guess, a little bit more defined, and there's not 15,000 different variations to an inner forearm block or a side kick.
yeah.
Um, but
That's. I mean, it definitely. But you can. So let's say you teach a certain way. You teach this product, this form, this self defense, this whatever, a certain way that you want it to be done. And like I said, you just feed the AI that same information, and then it's going to grade based on those parameters. So again, there's no room for a mistake. Um, like balls and strikes, you can nowadays, they've got the little box,
yeah,
for the baseball thing, and umpires, the ball will be outside the box and they call it a strike, and it's a strike. They still, the batter still has to go sit down if they strike out. Um, Tennis did this years ago with their baselines, and sidelines. Having the little line thing. So it beeps when it's out, because there were so many questionable calls. So technology came into the world, and it made a huge difference then in going forward. And people didn't question it. They didn't challenge it anymore.
I wonder if that'll come to football. I've heard a lot of the college head coaches kind of questioning the same thing of, you know, I can turn in 10 calls, but the refs missed this, the refs missed that. And, I think it was
Yeah,
Dabo
yeah.
Sweeney. So again, and that's the beautiful part about AI. It's relentless, right? This is what it is, and that's all there is.
Now, in football, I think football, boy, that'd be a hard one, because there's a penalty, in my opinion, on every play. There's holding on every play, whether
Yeah.
it's on the offense or the defense. There's holding on every play. Uh, but hey, I mean, there's got to be a way that and there will be a way that somebody's going to introduce AI into football games uh, and change how certain things are done, because that's what we do as a world. We continue to grow in technology and apply it to all of our stuff. Again, back to business, we have to know how to be able to apply. So like Saul, he got a small software subscription to like N8N or maybe a Go High Level or something like that, and then connected Zapier. All of this school stuff could be done through your GPT or your AI. Whatever it is that you're creating. They got Google has Gems now. Gemini has Gems that are the custom GPTs of the Chat GPT. So you can run it through them, and like I said, just like you were talking about with that teacher, it's all done automatically. There's no thought to it anymore. You don't have to work to do it anymore. And my gosh, the time savings that you get out of that is the impressive stuff, because it would allow you to be able to spend more time with your girls.
Yeah, that's kind of something that I've really dug into is using an AI to analyze data, you know,
Yeah.
your quit times. And actually I was talking to a guy, I think his school's in Maryland, I think. And he's kind of struggling here lately. He's lost some students, and it's the normal martial art thing, right? We gain some, we lose some, and your
Mm-hmm.
teacher heart never wants them to go. And the first thing I asked him, I was like, well, when are they quitting? Right. And he didn't know. He didn't know what rank color they were quitting or his
Yeah.
timeline of, they're enrolled for 7 months or 9 months or 2 years.
Yeah.
And so he's working on that. He's working through that data, but AI is incredibly fast at taking that data and analyzing it real fast.
We did the same thing. It's been a couple months ago. It's just one of these things that was one and done, but it's something that we should be doing every month. Took the like attendance roster and put it into the AI, and it was I asked it. I was going, review this and look at each student is supposed to come in twice a week, so they should be getting a minimum of if you got I don't know, say 8 or 10 weeks in your cycle, they should have a minimum of 20 classes for a round number at the end. You know, if they're not coming 80% of the time, we should worry about whether or not they continue. So, after you put all that stuff in and you upload the list, it spits it out and it's going, these 15 people need to be on your worry list. So automatically, you know, and if that person, this is why you have to do it more than just one time. If that person is on your worry list for the second month that you do it, you know, if you don't reach out to get them back in the class now, they may already be done, but
Yeah.
they're going to quit at that point. And the having AI give us the opportunity to be able to um, show us before it happens, kind of thing. I mean, it's like magic.
Oh yeah. Well, that's something I've been kind of working on too. Is we've had an issue, maybe 4 to 6 months now, of white belts not belt testing.
Yeah.
They and we've sent out emails, we've phone called, we've done all this stuff, and so I'm actually using our AI avatars to create videos that go out to the parents, kind of explaining, but it's personalized, right? It's like, hey,
Yeah.
this is what belt testing is. This is, and I think doing videos is going to help parents actually watch it, short 30-second kind of TikTok feels,
Hmm.
rather than even just a text message anymore. I feel like video it captures people attention now.
I hate to admit it, but I watch, way more videos on my phone than I do uh, on probably anything else. Which is, again, I don't know that it's embarrassing to say. So speaking of phone, I'm looking for the plug to be able to plug mine in. And it's probably dead today because, it spent hours watching puppy videos.
Oh, that's funny.
And yeah, I mean, but then it becomes a time waster. at the same time, because Lord knows I don't need to watch puppy videos. And a lot of times I'll get into Facebook because I'm one of those guys that if there's a notification on my phone, it drives me nuts. I got to get rid of
Oh
it.
yeah.
Then there's the other side of the world that they can have 3,000 notifications on their phone and it just doesn't bother them.
Just 3,000 text messages, not even notifications, 3,000 text messages.
So for me, I get a notification in there. I go into Facebook and it is all business stuff. Apex did this, Promax did this, and all those kinds of things. Nobody's ever responded to anything that I do personally on Facebook anymore. And I get caught then as I'm scrolling through. Today was Freddie Freeman doing the worm, at some party, and I thought, well, Dodgers first baseman used to play for the Braves. All right, this would be kind of cool. And then you just automatically your finger just scrolls up, and I don't know how long I sat there and watched videos,
Oh yeah.
and then I find some of them going, oh, I got to send this one, but I got to share this one. So I'm sharing that video to some people, and how much time do you spend wasting
Right.
videos? But
I said my video feed's pretty good, but like I said, occasionally I'll get on Food Talk or something and all kinds of recipes pop up and I start sending my wife, hey, let's try this. Hey, do this tomorrow night.
I wish I could say mine was that efficient, but yeah, I do not. Mine's just three cats staring out the window in the rain. The dog walks up behind them and barks, and they all jump up in the air. So there's stupid memes. There's a couple. I forget. I don't know what their names are. His name is Brian. I forget her name. But they do bad pickup lines or dirty pickup lines. It's just it's crazy what videos will do to people and how quickly you get connected.
Yeah.
Doom scrolling is the devil. Yes, sir, you are correct. And it's just so easy to do. It is so easy to do to get caught up in there. For me, luckily, I set alarms for everything that I do, because if I didn't set an alarm during the day, I'd miss a million things. Like this little webinar, this Q&A thing that we're doing, that we're not getting very many Q&As. By the way, if you're out there other than Saul, if you're watching, including you, and you have a question about something that you think we might be able to answer for you about business or technology or whatever, feel free to ask us. That's why we're here tonight.
I say we've learned a lot over the past couple of decades, haven't we?
Way more than we should have about way more things. 2 years ago, if you had asked me if I was in as deep in AI as I am, I didn't know what AI was 2 years ago, really. And now it is, it's an everyday use tool. I mean, literally every day. It builds, it creates, it does pictures, and the only thing that I haven't gotten it to do so far is to be able to post into, take the emails out of a Google Sheet and put them into Spark. And when we can do that, that's going to make my life so much easier.
I'll tell you something I've been using AI for too is the end of year. It's already November, and so we've got less than 60 days to spend any money inside of our company that we need to spend. And so I've been using that not only that, but for our personal finances too, and kind of establish, hey, we've been eating out a lot for the past 3 months. Like, we need to scale back and invest it here instead of investing in the Texas Roadhouse dinners.
Although you gotta have those on occasion.
Yeah, we ate Texas Roadhouse last week. I had a free kids meal coupon, but
good for you. But yeah, it's a it's a tool that we all need to be able to use. And one of the big things that I'm concerned about is that most people have all their eggs in the Chat GPT basket.
Yeah,
and
I
they
feel like
don't.
ChatGPT's kind of lost its edge a little bit over the past 6 months.
It has. To be perfectly honest with you, Gemini has become my go-to AI source, probably the last couple of months. And 6 months ago, Gemini sucked. I mean, it was terrible. And now, it'll spit out a picture in no time. It is a writing fiend. It doesn't write as well as Claude does. So if you're out there and you're a writer or you need to do some copywriting to stuff, you need to get a subscription to Claude.ai, and it'll write some stuff for you. Good material, good links, links as in, it provides all the information you want a reader to know, but it doesn't give too much that it's like, oh, this is a long ass email. I'm not going to read this thing. So that's a good one. And again, Chat GPT it's there. And for me, I even stopped using it as a search engine. Now I'm using Gemini as a search engine too.
Yeah.
And
They say that's going to be the future of, the web really is, Google search will eventually, probably in the near future, die. And it'll be AI, people going to AI and asking it questions rather than going to Google search.
in the summer of 24, so last year's summertime, I went to an event, and there was a guy. He owned a part of Digital Marketer, and if you're familiar with Digital Marketer, it is I mean, they do exactly what they say. They're a huge digital marketing agency, and they put on this big event called Traffic and Conversion every year. And this guy, traffic, and their community, they had a group of 4 or 5 partners. I forget which. They had a bad breakup, so the company went into 1 or 2 guys' hands, and then these other guys kind of collected their money and moved on. But this guy is at this event, and he's talking about, he had just been at Google in the last couple of months, and was going through looking at some of their stuff and talking to these guys, and he said something to the words of, or the effect of, that Google won't exist as the primary search engine in less than 3 years. And when he said it, I thought, oh man, you're out of your freaking mind. There's no way that Google's going to get uh, pushed back behind anything else as a search engine. It's what it does. And fast forward, 15 months later, and even shorter than that, and he's right. I don't use Google as a search engine very often anymore. It's crazy. Uh-oh, what's Saul throw out here to us?
He said,
Papa Jeff and I
Pop.
use Gemini. Yeah. He runs cabins in Arizona. I just proofread my translations for my sister's limnology articles. She writes for scientific purposes. It's great. Yep. I'm with you, man. I am with you.
Yeah. Well, and they were talking about AI, the future of medicine. Being able
Yeah.
to, CRISPR is like a genetic, I guess, database or whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
now they're able to go in and attack, different immunology kind of things based on the genetic code, because this AI can now read it all faster than, a science. So, even that on that front, we're automating the automation to medicine, we're
Yeah.
automating the automation to patient care, it's pretty cool.
Well, and it lets anybody do it.
Right.
I mean, you don't have to be a doctor. You may have to be a doctor to understand, more of the technical
Well, and
jargon.
it does have hallucinations, like, so you got to be careful
But
with the
those have gotten
medicine.
better.
They
Yeah,
have.
yeah, yeah. Those have gotten better over the last 6 months or so. But even uh, for those of you that, I don't know if anybody's ever going to watch this in the recorded version, but if you do, my mom is 82 and lives down here in Cozumel with me, has dementia, and AI has helped tremendously in the care that she gets, as far as from what drugs that she's taking, what her foods taking. If there's something that's uh, causing some sort of a problem for her. It's run through AI, um, pill interactions. Just all that stuff is I put it all in there, and I'm not questioning doctors necessarily, but I have had questions to the doctors about things that I probably would have never thought about had I not used AI to be able to input that. And it seems to have made a big difference in her uh, physical uh, well-being. Anyway, mentally, she's pretty much shot, but physically, she can get up. And like, today they went out to the beach and coming back into the house. It's like she's jumping over the water puddle, to get onto the sidewalk and going, all right, calm down there, superstar. We don't need you falling down and breaking a hip again. But she tackled that, something that it would be as simple as stepping over a water puddle in a kind of a hop form that we take for granted. Here she is doing that she just wasn't able to do 6 months ago. So
Right.
like I said, it spits out stuff because you tell it to. It's going, hey, put this in fifth grade language for me because that's about as high as I can understand. And, it'll write it all down in very simple, plain, whatever language you want. I'm sure that Saul uses both languages in his AIs, and I use the hell out of mine when I translate things from English to Spanish to English because my Spanish is so bad. So it's a godsend when I take one of the nurse's reports and I'll put it in there and I'll go, hey, translate this to English. It's done in seconds, and
What's
yeah,
it's
I just
funny
get
that
to go through
you're
it. Yeah.
mentioning about Alzheimer's and AI and stuff. I just did a quick Google search, and one of the first articles that pulled up was from January 2nd of this year. And it was saying that AI analyzed transcripts of speech from past cognitive tests, and with 78% accuracy predicted the progression to Alzheimer's within 6 years.
Wow.
So, I mean, 3/4 basically accuracy. That's 3 out of 4 people that you can detect that they're going to have Alzheimer's within 6 years. That's pretty impressive. So they were saying that clinical managers and or clinical trial managers and medical professionals are using that to identify rather than doing like invasive, expensive tests, to see if they're going to have Alzheimer's and have the genes and stuff. So,
Well, that's and that's amazing. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. And there's the difference, in my opinion, on why that tells you exactly why you should put AI in your business, because it's able to do these things. It predicts whether or not you're going to get Alzheimer's three quarters, almost 80% of the time. 4 out of 5 times it gets it right.
and all I was
Uh,
reading based on what the study said, and I was digging at it just a quick skim, but it was just reading transcripts, speech transcripts. Um,
wow.
mm, so
Can you imagine if you had videos of the people that were talking and then uploaded those, and how
I'm
much more
sure,
accurate it would be? Yeah,
I'm sure it's coming.
yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, the AI boom is, uh, I don't know what the word is that I want to use. Oh, I already got it. But it's moving so fast, and Google and ChatGPT, OpenAI, Claude,
And
Starlight, whatever, whoever the AI people are, they're all trying to outdo the other. So the
you know what this
business
reminds
is
me of?
what?
And again, I wasn't alive during the time, but I just based on stories is the race to the moon. And everybody was trying to beat
Yeah,
each other. I feel like the AI companies are like that right now. It's a race.
yeah. No, I think you're exactly right. That's a great analogy. Although some people say we never got to the moon. You
Sure.
know, but you can tell in these AIs that they're different. I took a class earlier this year on AI, and the AI that, of course, the class the professor decided to use was ChatGPT, which was fine. But they had also just come out with their newest release 5.0 that did things like it reduced the number of hallucinations, because you get into those long threads of stuff,
Right.
and then it would start spitting out some crazy stuff at you. And um, because they're being pushed by everybody else, to do better, they're performing. So, all these updates, it's like uh, Apple and Windows. It's kind of like one the one's got this, and then the other one does this, and then the next time something comes out, so it's an endless battle that's going on for improvement, and it's good. Like I said, I think it's a great opportunity for growth, and what we have to do is figure out how we know how to use it within our businesses, and what we need to do is show other people how they can use it in their business. And it doesn't have to be as crazy as taking a video and doing your testings, sticking your video in there and saying that passed. Although, like I said, I really love that idea. But it could be something as simple as just going through your reports like you were talking about, and have it summarized. Who do we need to worry about? Who's going to quit? Who's been coming to class a lot? Um, who's not testing? And then, it can also give you reasons why these things are happening as well, so that when you go to have a conversation with the parent, you've got a little bit of, uh, you got some tools back there that you can pull out, and you can go, hey, maybe Bobby's getting tired of coming to martial arts. Is there a problem getting the, put down his video game, TV, whatever it might be, and then we can help coach them actually, as to a better way to get them to put the video game down and come into class. So instead of going, hey Bobby, it's time to go to karate, let's go. It's like, all right, Bobby, you got 10 minutes to finish up your game, and in 10 minutes you got to go get your uniform, and then we're out the door. And you accomplish both tasks the same way. You get your kid to the karate class, but one works way better than the other one. And when when my kids were young, unfortunately, I wasn't good, so I used option one. Get your crap, let's go, come on, fast. And what if I was a better parent? I would have given them some options to choose from, to be able to do that. And like I said, we know that now, and it just gives us a chance to be able to coach that parent into helping their child continue to do something that we know that is going to affect their life in a positive manner for the rest of their life.
Yep.
All right. Let's see. What else? We talked a little bit about the government shutdown, didn't we?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Do you think? I mean, you have, if not the single largest revenue producing martial arts gym,
Complex.
in the United States. Um, you're close to the top. What do you think in this environment it would look like if all you had was just a martial arts program today?
I think if I was a single bachelor, it'd be whatever. I'd be all
Yeah.
right, whatever. But I know most martial art people are not single, right? Most martial art people are raising a family, and man, it would terrify me. I mean, COVID, even with all the stuff we had going on during COVID, like COVID terrified me. And I really think that this snapback, I think there's going to be an abrupt pullback Q1 2026, and I think that could be it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt a lot. So, but and
Well,
again, I think that goes into why it's important to have multiple income streams. So for us,
yeah.
we've got martial arts, we've got cheerleading, we've got tumbling, we got after school and summer camps. And so day camps when schools are out. So again, I think that's a pretty powerful tools that you can pull the lever on, right? When you need to do it, pull the lever on at birthday parties, parents night outs. That's something we're going back to is we haven't had a parent night out all year this year, and so our numbers are starting to decrease.
Hmm.
And so we're doing one in December and probably do one most of 2026 if I'm guessing.
Why did you stop doing them?
because I wanted my Saturdays. I
uh,
wanted that, and it is terrible, but when you do $2.1 million, like a lot of that is us making sure that the pizza was ordered and the lightsabers are there for this birthday party and we had wood boards
yeah.
for this birthday party and we're doing this these events over here and so we were doing good and coasting and that's why I keep telling my team the past couple years we were just coasting, right? We were
Yeah.
sitting groovy, and I think it's time to go back to battling now.
Well, yes, and if people don't start the battle process today, and
They're behind.
yeah, what's February going to look like? And
Yeah.
regardless, I think too, it's if the economy continues to travel in the direction that it's traveling in the United States, we know that there's going to be loss of people doing extracurricular activities. There's just they simply aren't going to be able to afford it.
They're going to keep their Netflix and Disney Plus and their Hulu and
Yeah,
$80 worth a month of streaming subscriptions, but they're going to cancel their martial arts tomorrow.
and they do that because they don't understand the value. Yeah,
Right.
you're exactly right. And it's going to happen. I mean, it's a done deal. We're just waiting on the win part, and maybe it's not going to be in the first quarter next year. Maybe it's going to be in the last quarter of next year instead, or maybe it's going to be in 3 years. But it's coming, and it's going to hit us hard. And if you're not trying to prepare for it now, I mean, like I said, you're just going to be behind.
Well, with all the SNAP benefits that's going on, those people, typically the economy right now, it's your high end, high earners they're spending money in the economy as of right now, right?
Hmm.
And so your lower income people are not spending money, but now that their SNAP benefits are gone too, what little money they did have is going to go to resources. It
Yep.
has to. There's no other option. And again, I've lived both sides of those worlds. Maybe not to the SNAP benefit level, but my parents were not rich people.
Yeah.
Um, so and that's what I'm saying. As business owners, you have to be 6 months to a year ahead right now. Just like when COVID hit February, I saw what was happening in China. I bought my ozone machines. We were ready to roll when March come through. Did I know it was gonna be the level it was? No, but we were ready to roll.
Yeah. I
That's
knew
kind of where
something
we're
was
at now.
coming. Yeah.
Yeah,
And again, there was help from the government, and like I said, the government's not going to be able to help anybody this time.
a lot of help. We just
Oh yeah.
now, we just now 5 years later have pretty much pulled out all the COVID money out of the economy. It's
Hmm.
close, but it's not completely gone. But most of the COVID money, most of the people's savings are now gone.
Yeah. And like I said, it's just not going to be, even for small business. It's not that cushion, that net isn't going to be there. So like I said, you got to figure out how to make sure it's going to work. Because I mean, I think we're all going to take a hit. It's just a matter of how big your hit's going to be based on what it is that you're doing today
Yeah.
to keep that hit from being too hard.
Well, again, Doug, I've talked to a lot of martial arts school owners over the past really month and a half, maybe. And, I put a message out into a group I'm in with, high end martial arts school owners and stuff. And I'm waiting to see what their responses are. But, for us, our cancellations have kind of crept up. Our bookings have been down.
Hmm.
And so, that's stuff those are numbers you got to pay attention to and pay attention to early. And if you're in business, that this is the business part.
Well, I mean, you and I own a business together, and we provide services to clients, and
Yeah.
we're seeing that from our business perspective.
The
And
data. Yeah.
yeah, and the numbers just don't lie. And it's not that anything has changed significantly. So people aren't changing whether or not they're doing Facebook ads or Google ads. We're sending out emails or social media posts. That's all pretty much about the same. And because of that, and we're seeing the numbers that are moving in a downward direction, we I think again this gives us, as having multiple clients and multiple databases to look at, we get a better picture than most people do.
Right.
You sit in your school and you're going, oh, we're down 10 students from last month. Well, you're not by yourself. Misery loves company, but it doesn't make you feel any better, and it doesn't put food on your table any differently.
Well, again, Doug, that's why I tell people all the time, that's the importance of an after school and summer camp program, right? Like during times like this, when the not the necessities, the wants pull back,
Yeah.
necessities creep in, right? And so,
Mhm.
and you know as well as I do, it's hard to outwork most martial artists. Most martial art owners are, you can't beat them in their work ethic, and that's how we win. So, but I'll tell you,
Yeah.
just from automating this year, because we got rid of our director for after school and summer camp, and we got rid of our front desk help because we're in with Promax, and so they're doing all our Pro Calls is doing all of our phone answering and stuff like that. So when we come in during the day, we're focused just on the clients and the incoming clients, But we are up. Let's see. Let me pull the report here. I was going to share it to you. Profit wise, last year at the same time, we were at $300,000 in profit. This year, at the same time point, we're $509,000 in profit after payroll, everything. My payroll, everybody's payroll, rent, all that kind of stuff. And that just tells you the power of automation.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and not just that, but uh, it cleans out any of the bulkiness that's involved. And with an automation, it never forgets.
Yep.
So it's not like, it's not going to make a phone call, or it's not going to send that email or that text message. It's going to do that. And for us, again, another luxury is that we've been talking about AI tonight, but we have AI that's making phone calls, outbound phone calls for us. And
Yep.
of all the jobs in marketing, I think that is the one that everybody hates.
And it's the
Is
hardest.
and yeah,
Cold outbound
first,
calls.
yeah, and then you make 15 phone calls and one person picks up, and then you don't know what to say because you're used to hey, this is leave a message, and then you do a lousy job of trying to convert that person from prospect to a trial on a phone call, and
Well,
the
Doug,
uh, the voice
I'll, t-
AI just doesn't do that.
I'll tell you and we've been open 10 years, right, in business. And probably the first 6 years, we hit every fall festival, every
Yeah.
community event. I mean, we were at all of them, right? We even drove our buses down the 4th of July parade. We started our after school and summer camp program. Like we were at all of them. And I couldn't tell you how many times I picked up the phone and called one of those leads. Now, did I put them in our CRM? Did they get email blasts? Sure. But actually picking up the phone and calling them, I don't know if I ever did, to be honest with you.
Nah, and there's school owners that are out there that believe that, I mean, they don't do it either. So they give this task because they don't want to do it to someone else that's on their team. And they believe their team members are actually making these phone calls. And I'm not calling anybody's team member a liar, but I'm also saying that I know that they're not making those phone calls. Just like we do surveys through ProCalls, we'll call martial arts schools around the United States and see, how many times they answer their phone. And what do you think the average is in all these schools that we've called over the last
Oh,
couple
I
of
can't
years?
remember. I want to say it was really low.
23,
That's
25?
what I was saying. I thought it was like 22 point something percent. Um,
Yeah. So I mean, let's round up and give them a good number. So 1 in 4 martial arts schools answer their phone on average. And literally, we've made thousands of phone calls to
I
martial
think
arts
it's
schools.
been, I think it's close to 500 martial arts schools now that we've called, and
More than that.
we call it out
Yeah.
all hours of the day, morning, afternoon, night. Um, so it's not just like, oh, they're calling at 8 a.m. in the morning. No, no, like we're
Yeah.
calling all day long.
And it's, I had the privilege of going to an event in Tampa, a Spark event, a month or so ago. And a couple of those guys that were there were schools that, we did this. And I just kind of pulled them aside and was going, hey, and this isn't a sales, this is not a sales conversation. First of all, let me tell you that. However, what I did want you to know is that your school's not answering their phone. And, I'd give them the statistics, and, one guy's going, oh, no, that can't be right. Um, I'm not quite sure how else we can do it. You dial the number and somebody either answers the phone or they don't answer the phone. And I'm telling you that they didn't answer the phone, 7 out of 8 times. He's going, oh, well, I know this person has another job, but they always answer the phone. No, no, they didn't. We called them 8 times in 6 days or whatever it was. I don't know exactly what the number was. They're not answering your phone. And that's I think it's an advantage that you and I have, is that when the instructors that we had they made answering the phone such a
Priority.
important task. Yeah. It
Like
was like,
you didn't leave the building to go on your lunch break until you forwarded the phone to your cell phone.
yeah, literally. And at night when you went home. So,
Yep.
I mean, if the phone would ring, if I'm having dinner and the phone rings, I'm picking it up. Hey, thanks for calling Apex Martial Arts. This is Doug. How can I help you? And if it was somebody who was interested in martial arts, I took however long it took on that conversation to get them to book an appointment to come in. And it's nice to have a machine, if we call AI a machine, to be able to do that for me now. I don't have to worry about that. My team doesn't have to worry about it. They don't fill nearly as many phone calls today. Um,
Well, I just looked.
people
I just pulled up our statistics for the past 30 days. So in the past 30 days, we have received, pull it up here, how to add it together. 230 phone calls in the past 30 days.
at your physical location.
Yeah, well, I mean, between everything, Promax, the ones that Promax
Okay.
answers, and then
Okay.
at our physical location too.
In how many days?
The past 30 days, we averaged 230 phone calls, so that's
It's like
7.6 phone
7
calls
a
a
day.
day. Yeah,
Yeah. No, and that's really good because that's way more than what the average is that we see.
right.
The average is less than two phone calls per day to the average martial arts school. So that's why it's so important that you have to answer your phone, though. It's if you, and this is true for any business, by the way. We're picking on martial arts schools because that's what we've been doing these surveys on. But it's anybody if you don't answer your phone. Yeah, you own a restaurant. If somebody call and they want to make a to-go order, you don't answer your phone. They're gonna call somebody else. I've done that. I've made a phone call to a place going, ooh, I want to have I don't know, lasagna. You call an Italian place, don't answer their phone. You're just like, oh, I guess I'm not having lasagna. At least I'm not having it from them. I might find it from somebody else.
Right.
And in martial arts, it's you know, what's lasagna cost in Tennessee? At a decent restaurant.
I would say at least $20 anymore minimum.
Oh, so you're gonna spend $20. So they're gonna miss a $20 sale. And you're gonna go eat lasagna at that place how many times during the course of the year? 3, 4 times maybe?
3, yeah, I would say 3 or 4, yeah.
All right, so that's $60. We'll even say 100. That's $100 that restaurant's gonna make off of you in a year's time. And at a martial arts school, when you miss a phone call, how many dollars are you missing in revenue
Thousands,
a year? Yeah.
thousands.
I mean, for us at Apex, it's like $2,667 a year that we're missing. And that's a lot of money. And when you miss 7 out of 8 of those phone calls, and let's say you even got half of those people to come in to try your classes, you got 3 people out of those 8 to come in. That's what, almost 8 grand that you're giving away on an annual basis. And if you do that every month, that's $100,000. And
Yep.
it just adds up so quick.
I'll tell you, Doug, when I was growing this company, I got a phone call from a parent. I think it was on Thanksgiving, and maybe it was the day after Thanksgiving on Black Friday, and our facility's closed on Black Friday, but she wanted to enroll her kid and she wanted to see the facility, and so I drove my happy butt over to the facility and unlocked it and met her there, and she signed up and she was a client for probably 2 or 3 years. And so, all because I answered the phone on a day that we were technically closed.
Yeah, yeah. No, and I did the same thing. Mine was on Christmas Eve. Same thing. Somebody's calling on the early early afternoon on Christmas Eve, going, hey, are you open? No, and I wanted to get I want my kid to do martial arts, and I want to get them a uniform to put it under the tree. My first thought is, why are you waiting until the day before Christmas to do this? My second thought was, where are my keys? I'll meet you there to get you a uniform, because like I said, I was desperate, and I really wanted to make sure that I would capture that sale, and I didn't want them to go on to the next person. And like I said, I don't think that person stayed with us 2 years, but they were there for at least their first full year. And again, that's $2,500 or whatever it is that I would have lost, or somebody else would have gotten, had I not disrupted my Christmas Eve to go down there to give them a uniform. On the other
Yep.
side of the coin, I also had to disrupt my Christmas to go get them a uniform. Uh, and that's not my favorite option. To have to do something like that. But
Well, I was talking to some friends in Florida that own a school down in Florida, and they were saying that now they were the first ones in their strip center on a corner in Florida, and now there's a martial arts school across the street. At every corner of that intersection, there's 4 martial arts schools. You can literally throw a rock now and hit them.
oh
So
crap!
now
Talk about
the good part about recessions and hard times in the martial art world is if you're running an A+ game, you're going to be fine, and you're going to
yeah.
capture a lot of those other students that need somewhere to train. So that's the good thing. You just got to get through the tough part before you can see the good inside of it.
See, I would have to ask the question. Out of those 4 schools, how many of them run an after school program as well?
I think just one, and it's them,
Yeah,
and
I
they're
mean,
they're
talk
crushing
about
it.
it.
They just started in. I can't remember if they started in August or September. I feel like they started in August. With their they did a summer camp over the summer, and then they started the after school
Mhm.
program and they have 14 kids, I think, and just bought their
Oh,
second bus, paid cash for it.
yeah,
So pretty
good
pretty
for
powerful.
them. Yeah, I mean it is, and and again, they have the luxury of um,
Well, and
that
I'll
second
tell
revenue
you,
stream.
when I was talking to them, they're experiencing what we're experiencing, right? That decline of they've had this kid for actually I talked to her the other day, and she said she had a kid for maybe a year and a half, and they just come in and quit, and it broke her heart because they love this family, but they had things going on or whatever.
Yeah,
And so they were getting frustrated because their martial art numbers are doing this. And the one thing she said was, I'm glad we have an after school program to offset it.
yeah,
And that's the power right there, because they have 3 little babies too, and chasing a dream. So again, it's pretty cool to watch and know that they at least have that steady income stream coming in no matter what happens.
yeah. And 15 after schoolers isn't it's not going to buy you a yacht, but if they sign up 15 more in the next 3 months, and then 15 more in the next 3 months after that, they end their school year at 40 or 40, between 40 and 50. And then their summer camp could be huge. And then
Oh,
when
yeah.
they start their school year for 26, 27, man, they're going to start with 60 or 80 kids, you know, and that's when it's a game changer.
That's what we're trying to figure out now is like, what's their next location look like? I think they got a couple more years left, 2 years left on their lease. And so they're already asking like, what's our next location look like? What can we do? What can we find? So they're already looking at it, which is great because it takes
Yeah,
it takes about a year to move a site. If you have to
yeah.
move out of your facility, it takes about a year to get up and running. So
And they can use AI to have the facility. That what kind of facility do I need? I need to have space for this. I need to have space for that. I need to have storage here. I need to have restrooms, fitting rooms, offices, floors, whatever it is that you do or don't want, you put it in AI. It'll draw that out for you so that when you get there and you give it to the construction foreman, you're going, this is what I want it to look like.
yep.
AI has already told me what exactly it is that I need to have, where it needs to be, where the walls need to be, everything. And, you know, again, if it can tell me that I'll whether or not I'll get Alzheimer's in 6 years by voice recognition on paper, I'm pretty sure I can draw the hell out of a diagram for martial arts culture. All right. Well, so he's not watching anymore either.
No, he's probably
We had a
went to
few
bed.
people. Yeah.
Really?
So we had a few people that watched this, but
That's good.
not too many asking questions. So
Well,
maybe
like I
we need to
said,
make this a semi-regular thing anyway, though. That way people will know that we're going to be on here. Like I said,
I think so too.
We can continue to talk about things that we have found that are helping move the needle in a positive direction, and that's really all we can do.
Well, again, I think it's time for everybody to buckle down, and again, we got to do what we do best as martial artists, and we got to fight. That's just all there is to it. We got to step up and run this
Thanks,
business.
bud.
And we got to fight.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
he's
what's going
here.
on?
So,
Yeah, I'm still here. I haven't left.
give us one more
And,
question to finish it. One more
yeah,
thing.
give us one more. Actually, we may not have helped him with the first one. It was no, we did, and we talked about N8N or Eco High Level and zapping. And so those are things that you would be able to do to work things out.
I
And
said a lot.
like I said, you can develop your classes. If you're doing your ESL classes, you develop your teacher planner thing, through AI, and you could literally have it draw up your plan for the next 6
That's
years.
what that's what a lot of teachers are doing, especially in the States. They have the standards. And so they've just been loading the standards from the state into their planners and saying, "Hey, write me a lesson plan and include X,
Yeah.
Y, and Z," and it spits it out.
Like I said, it's such a time saver. Such a time saver. I wrote a book using AI um, over a weekend when I was at the Maya event this summer. I mean, literally wrote an entire book, um, and used AI to do it. And it was all about feeding it the right prompts. And then, of course, you got to edit it and make sure that
Right.
it didn't hallucinate stuff for you. But it's just so easy to do. It's just so easy to do nowadays. I was We have some friends that they do Harry and Friends,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
and she's written children's books, and I wanted to start writing children's books about 4 or 5 years ago. Still kind of in the back of my mind that would be a great tool to be able to give to parents coming in the door. You got 3 and 4 year old class, 4 and 5, whatever it is, and you have books that are kind of talking to them. All right, what you got? I work with individual clients, not a group. Oh, that's all right. You can still use AI to be able to build your plan for them as individuals. And the cool thing is that you can do in ChatGPT, you can do projects. So you could just name them. So you can name one Doug, you can name one Scott, and then it remembers that. And as you're getting all your information, you just go back to that project and you put it in there. Or you could do it like you just normally do in a thread over on the side and go back to that same thread and then continue it. Again, the problem you might run into at some point, depending on how long it goes, would be that it starts to forget. The AI memory starts to go away, which they call a hallucination. So hopefully we helped you, if nothing else. So appreciate it. He was supposed to be at a party that I was at. We went for a couple hours on Saturday, I think, Sunday. I don't remember which. And I don't think he showed up. I don't remember seeing him there. All right. Let's go ahead and wrap things up tonight there, Scott.
Yeah. As I say, my bed's calling me. We had camp yesterday, and so it was a 12-hour day yesterday, and then I taught classes all night last night, and then all night tonight, and so yeah.
Good for you. I binge watched a series on Apple TV this evening. So that's how I spent my hours from like 6
Hey,
to.
you're preparing for a women's self-defense class.
That's also true. And do you know what? I've done hundreds of these classes before, right? And I decided that I was going to run one through. I was going to have not Chat GPT. I was going to have AI build me one and see what its recommendations would be for a class based on the clientele that are here on the island. And it gave a lot of the same stuff, but it gave some different stuff. And then, as you teach these classes, you talk things about awareness, instincts, those kinds of things as well. And it gave me some ideas that I wouldn't have thought of because of the community that we live in. And I've never thought of that before. It's like you spit out national rape statistics, and the chances are you're going to get raped by somebody you know. Uh,
Right.
you toss all those things out, and again, those are great for national averages and ideas and metrics and data. But being able to pinpoint this thing
Yep.
to Cozumel made it, wow. Like I said, it gave me some
Relates it.
ideas. Yeah, it gave me some
That's
ideas that I would have never come up with.
that's something I did was really powerful, and that was before AI and stuff. But we have UT here, University of Tennessee, and so I pulled the UT Police Department's statistics, because I was doing a sorority, so what self defense class, and
Yeah,
yeah, I pulled the UT and said, "This is literally what you're walking through when you walk from the sorority house to campus. This is what you're walking through every day." And it was scary. I mean, like it's mind blowing. It's again, no one ever sees it until it happens to them, right?
yeah. It's always somebody else. We're all indestructible, and then it happens to you. But if you're in a group of five women, chances are, against statistics, odds, whatever it is that you want to say, says that one of them has been raped in their lifetime.
Yep.
And that a self-defense class isn't going to keep that necessarily from happening. And that's something that people have to understand. But again, it gives you more tools in your toolbox to be able to use. So, like I said, we've got this self-defense class we're doing here on the island at Rebel Studios Pilates. It's a Pilates place, and the lady was nice enough to let me use it to come in there uh, and do these classes. And what's the first one? November 29th, and then again on December 6th. And it's just something that I really enjoy doing, and it's an opportunity for women to come and hang out and just learn, a little bit more about now. I was having a conversation with Anna tonight about, there was a road rage, some guy cut her off, and I keep a metal baton, expandable baton in the car. And she's going, her mom was in the car, and a friend, she's going, friends going, what? Don't egg him on. He might come back here and want to fight. She's going, oh, if he does, I've got this. And as the conversation went, she's going, uh, said something to the effect of, I wouldn't have used this until he hit me first. And I'm going, oh, we got to have a conversation. That's too late. That's way too late. So had the conversation, and now there's a better understanding about distance, and how quickly people can close a distance, and if you are going to hit somebody with one of these things, where you're going to hit them, and you don't know what you don't know is really
Yep.
what it comes down to. And we've been fortunate that years we've had years and years of people teaching us how to be able to do these things so that we can pass that information along, which is kind of what we're doing with this Q&A thing.
There you go. I know I'm gonna have to round some people up to ask some questions next time.
Yeah, no, me too, man. All right, well,
All right.
enjoy your evening.
Yes, sir. We got a binge. We have a show we're watching on Netflix right now, so we're gonna binge watch an episode and then probably pass out and do it all again tomorrow.
Yeah, it'd be a perfect opportunity. And so, yes, it does have a long-term memory now, and it's in your settings. You can actually turn it off and on if you want to. You just have to be careful if you use it for different tasks that it doesn't get confused sometimes about taking the memory from from this little box when it should be taking the memory from this box instead. And most important thing in AI is that you have to have the right prompt, very specific, very detailed. And then the last thing you do is you always ask it, do you have any questions for me?
That's what I was going to say. How can I better explain this to you?
Yeah. And I don't know that I've ever put something together. I mean, I've had some long ass prompts. And then at the end, do you have any other questions? And myself, I'm
It
thinking,
always
I got
comes
you
back.
this time. Yeah, it's going, I got you this time. I covered everything. Yeah, that gives me 10 questions. Yeah, if you give me this information, golly, man, I would have never, I wouldn't have thought of this. I wouldn't have done that. All right. Well, we'll put together another one of these.
Yeah.
When you want to do one next Wednesday. Maybe?
Yeah, maybe. I wouldn't do it the week of Thanksgiving. Everybody's going to be traveling and yada yada.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll talk about it and put one together for next week, and we'll see if we can get some people to get in here.
So if they made
Ask
it
us
this
some
far, drop it
questions.
in the comments. If you make it this far, drop it in the
Yeah.
comments. What days work best for you?
Yeah. No kidding. Yeah. Saul's our man, though. He's been our go-to guy for the day.
I said Wednesday nights at 9:30. That's Saul's time.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably mine too, actually.
Yeah. It's quiet.
Yeah. All
All right,
right.
man.
Well,
It's good speaking with
well,
everybody. Good talking to you guys.
yeah. We'll see everybody next week. How's that?
Sounds good.
Have a good night.
All right.